Clark, Schmidt on deck. 1-0 pitch. Ball hit high in the air, deep to left field. It's going back. Gone into the bullpen. Jack Clark puts the Phillies up by 2. Welcome in, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us today. Appreciate you tuning in to the 1982 replay. Ryne Sandberg stays in Philadelphia. We've got expanded playoffs, realigned divisions. Your 1982 Phillies. We're trying to turn the early 80 Phillies into a dynasty. We have reached the end of June. Here we go. Let's take a quick look at the calendar for the month of June to bring you up to date. Not a bad month at all. 7-3 over the last 10 games. 16-11. There was a rough spot in the middle, but we'll take a 16-11 month. We went through the team batting stats in a little more detail in the previous episodes, so we won't go into all that. You can see still first and second in most of those. So the offense overall doing a nice job. Pitching stats have been up and down. They continue to be up and down. We've had bad starts. We've had some bad relief appearances. We've had some great starts and some great relief appearances. So trying to get the pitching staff settled in and still thinking that if we are going to go hunting for anything in the second half of the season right now, that looks like a right-handed relief pitcher. I think the big story and what we should talk about here is, you see this stretch. We've got the 14th of June through the 18th. Lost 4 games in a row. We're swept by the Atlanta Braves. 3 extra inning losses to the Braves. So why did that occur? Well, one, the Braves are pretty good. The other is Milt May, who has been out for over a month now. He will be back in about a week, we're hoping, but his absence is big to this team. Moreland's done a nice job. You see 275, 8 home runs, 34 RBIs. So Keith Moreland doing a nice job, but Milt May gives us that left-handed bat in the 5 spot and then allows us to move Moreland around the field a little bit to give people a day off. Gives us that flexibility. Bit of a drop-off with him being out, but another factor has to be the injury to Larry Bowa. Larry Bowa out, I believe, 6 weeks total. He went out in early June. Here you can see Bowa's last game was the 8th. He left that game early. Has not been back in the lineup since shoulder tendonitis. So Bowa and Milt May out. Lonnie Smith was also out for about a week around that time of the Atlanta series. Glenn Franklin having to play a lot. Now you see 219, 7 home runs. That's not the end of the world, but what was a problem is our defense fell apart. And it fell apart bad in that Atlanta series, and it's been shaky ever since Bowa came out. Obviously, one player is not your entire defense, but Bowa is such a steadying factor at shortstop. He is missed as well. Lonnie Smith being out for about a week. We didn't have our leadoff hitter. If it's not Lonnie Smith, we don't have many options at the top of the lineup. Dick Davis came off the bench and did a nice job. But again, Lonnie Smith's speed, he gets on base, makes great contact. He sets everything up. 16-11, we'll take it given the amount of injuries that we had to face. Quick look here at the starting pitching. You'll see not terrible numbers for anyone. We've got Pasquale Perez trending in the right direction. Marty Bystrom, 3.84. If that's where he ends up this season, we'll take that. Christensen's been up and down, but he's 6-3, 3.64. Overall, we'll take that. Dick Ruthin at 8-1. That's outstanding. Carlton 9-2. He has brought his earned run average down from about 3.9, I believe, down to 3.4. In the bullpen, Tugger is up to 15 saves and a 2.05 ERA. He has given up a couple lately, so we'll keep an eye on Tugger. Joe Price has been outstanding. Farmer struggled at times. ERA was over 5. Larry Anderson, gaining confidence in Larry Anderson. Guy Hoffman, the Rule 5 draft, 2.35 ERA. He has been solid. He had a bad outing that actually ballooned that earned run average up. And then Dickie Knowles at 5.27. All right, so let's take a look at the standings. We'll start in the AL East. The Yankees have a 3-game lead over the Baltimore Orioles, 7 games over Toronto. Oakland Athletics in first place at 38 and 34. They've got a 1-game lead over the Mariners and Rangers. And Detroit leads the Central up by 6 over the Kansas City Royals. Kansas City 3 games over Baltimore in the wild card, 5 games over the Rangers and the Mariners. Jump over to the National League. You see our Phillies 47 and 25, but that is only a 3-game lead now over the Braves. Thanks to the Braves playing better baseball and that sweep in the middle of the month. Montreal is 11 back. Houston 43 and 29. They are 8 games over the Dodgers and the Padres. The Dodgers are starting to show some signs of coming back around. I did not expect them to be an under 500 team. Cincinnati Reds are a game up on the St. Louis Cardinals. Reds 38 and 34, 5 and 5 over their last 10. And they have an 8-game lead over the Pirates. Atlanta, 7 games over the Cardinals, 8 games over the Expos. Dodgers and Padres, 9 games out of the wild card. And in this episode, our minor league spotlight is going to be on Dan Pasqua. Dan Pasqua, the left-handed hitting outfielder. He's the number 12 prospect in baseball. He was our number 1 pick, taken 13th overall in the 1981 draft. This is our first pick in this franchise. Went with Pasqua because he is a left-handed power bat. The organization does not have a lot of left-handed power in it. And we thought that Pasqua might be somebody that gets to the major leagues fairly quick. He is already a 30 out of 65. There were players with higher potential, but we wanted somebody that we thought might be able to get in this lineup. We knew we were going to keep Sandberg. Obviously, we have Schmidt. At the time we drafted Pasqua, we didn't know that we would have Jack Clark. Imagine Sandberg second, and then Schmidt 4th, Jack Clark 3rd or 5th, Dan Pasqua maturing, getting into the major leagues, reaching that potential, and possibly hitting 3rd or 5th somewhere in this lineup, just to balance things out and give us that left-handed power bat. All right, well, that's a look at where we've been over the month of June. All right, we said we were going to talk about the All-Star ballots. And here we go. We'll start with the American League. Chet Lemon, we went after him. We couldn't keep up with the pace on the bidding for him, as he, I believe, became the highest paid player in baseball. He has 750,553 votes, leading the way for the American League. Lance Parrish, leading all catchers, Darrell Porter and Ted Simmons, 2 and 3. Eddie Murray, one of my favorite Orioles of all time. Eddie Murray, just under 700,000 votes, ahead of Rod Carew and Willie Upshaw. Willie Randolph at second base. Willie with the Blue Jays. Castino and Rick Burleson, 2 and 3 at second base for the American League. Doug DeCenze, another great Oriole, 600,000 votes, ahead of George Brett by about 60,000 votes right now. Wow, 323, 390 on base percentage, 11 homers. That's Brett got 330, 393, 5 homers, so looks like he's earning it. Cal Ripken Jr. currently leading shortstops in the American League with 544,000 votes. This is a 21-year-old Cal Ripken. In left field, it's Ricky Henderson leading the way over Dave Winfield and Kenny Singleton of the Orioles. Man, Orioles fans, this is a great era for the Baltimore Orioles. There's so many good players in those teams. Willie Wilson leads center fielders over Fred Lynn and Gorman Thomas. Chet Lemon playing right. Could have been playing center in Philly. Dwight Evans, Sixto Lazcano is currently 3rd for right fielders. And DH, Reggie Smith leads Richie Zisk and John Mayberry. Don Sutton of the Baltimore Orioles leads the American League starting pitchers, Floyd Bannister, Burt Blyleven, Ron Guidry, and Dave Stieb. That'd be a pretty good rotation. And the bullpen, Leading the way right now, it's Bill Campbell over Rich Gossage, Tippy Martinez, another great Oriole, Dave Tobick, and Jim Kern of the Yankees. All right, let's take a look at the National League. Behind the plate, if he'd stayed healthy, Milt May might be on this list, but he has been out for about 7 weeks, maybe 8 weeks right now, or total. Gary Carter of the Expos leads the way over Johnny Bench and Gene Tennis. Keith Hernandez leads first baseman for the Cardinals by, wow, almost 250 votes, 250,000 votes over Jason Thompson and Rusty Staub. Second base is Joe Morgan, signed with the Expos, and he is leading second baseman in all-star voting over Art Howe. And there's our man, Ryne Sandberg, 320,000 votes. He's still got a shot. Mike Schmidt leading third baseman, just under 600,000 votes over Bob Horner and Kenny Oberkfell. Shortstop David Concepcion, Dickie Thon, the Houston Astros, and Gary Templeton of the Cardinals. In left field, you know, our man Lonnie Smith is beating Tim Raines right now, and beating him pretty well. George Foster of the Reds at 464,000. Center field, Lee Lacy over Andre Dawson and Dave Collins. And right field, free agent signing Jack Clark of the Philadelphia Phillies over Pedro Guerrero and Terry Poole. That's pretty good company right there. Starting pitcher, leading vote getter, Steve Carlton, Mario Soto, Bill Gullickson, Bob Welch, and Jerry Royce. And in the bullpen, Steve Howe, Tom Bergmeyer, Lee Smith, Bruce Sutter, Joe Beckwith. That's a pretty good bullpen right there. Tug was on this list. He's had some rough games lately. We'll see if he's an all-star. And we had to advance the day. And what do you know? National League Batter of the Month award goes to Mike Schmidt. Schmidt hit .326 in June, collecting 5 home runs, 25 RBIs, 19 runs scored. And there you see the season total numbers, which we've already talked about. And as we mentioned, he was struggling for quite a while. Picked it up. But how about Jack Clark carrying the team, waiting for Schmidt to get hot? Two very nice bats to have 3 and 4 in this lineup. Thank you to everybody for tuning in. I appreciate all the views on this. Like and subscribe if you're enjoying the content, of course. And we will be back at the All-Star break, so we'll see you then.